Step off, hoser.
There we go. There's the right one. Hello, everybody. My mouse is like so floaty right now. It'll like click on anything. How are we doing today? This wonderful, wonderful Knuckleheads episode brought to you by none other than myself. How is everyone today? Chat is already popping. I see Tom. I see Ice Cold Ombre. Welcome. Gav, Ellie. We have Andrea. Not Andrea. Andrea. Get that right one day. Harima in the chat. Dr. Reddit is here. It's good to see. Who else do we have? Zero's in the chat. Zero's chilling in the chat too. And Chris Jacobson. Welcome everybody. Hello, Randy. Randy. How are y'all doing? I got it this time. Welcome everybody. Everybody. Welcome. We don't have any fun guests today, unfortunately. We don't have any fun guests, but this is more of a grease in the wheels. We're greasing the wheels of the show of what we're going to be talking about. About that Beldum. Oh my god, don't get me started about that Beldum. A motherfucking Beldum, man. I'll like cough that out. Motherfucking Beldum. We did catch it though. We did catch it. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. What a week. What a week we've had. That Beldum was just the tip of the iceberg. That Beldum was just the tip of the iceberg. Legit question. How much is a con job asking for a friend? Well, if you ask the experts on Twitter, they charge way fucking too much for it, apparently. Sucky $5. Yeah. So today we're going to be going a little bit over about what happened this week, because this week was a lot of interesting fun, to say the least. We're going to be going a little bit over what happened this week. And we're going to be setting up for a chat that we're going to have, actually, because we're going to be having somewhat of a big brain panel. Oh yeah, the clown car was out in full blast this week. We're going to have somewhat of a big brain panel. I have to coordinate the dates. It will probably be after the holidays. It will very likely be after the holidays. But I wanted to give a part one so we could grease the wheels. Because there's a lot of squeaky wheels on the internet today. So I don't know how long we're going to go today, but it's always going to be fun. It's always fun here with you guys. It's always fun with here. Do I think that Vic or the vendor should sue Los Angeles Comic-Con for the damages that caused by the vendor? Vic doesn't have any. I don't think Vic has any grounds because he did not have the contract with Los Angeles Comic-Con, but the vendor absolutely should pursue it. That is up to if they have the money to do so. They would likely get a return, or they would likely get something. I'm not entirely sure, but it would absolutely be worth them because they could absolutely prove damages. And there are some business practices that were not uniform, as far as I understand, because the convention, from what I understand, for Los Angeles Comic-Con, and shame on you, spineless worms, they allowed other vendors to have non-guests signing at their tables for the purposes of advertising their tables and getting traffic to their tables. Now you're gonna find a lot of very big brain individuals, very smart. They run so many cons, they can't even count on their fingers and toes how many cons they've owned and operated. They're gonna tell you that there was an agreement in place and they had line control because, heaven forbid you have paying customers in your convention. They had all of these things set up, assuming, and apparently they assume that, the vendor that invited Vic didn't. But hey, But apparently the excuse, no, I don't know this for sure. I've heard this through third parties. But apparently the excuse that was given to Vic, or at least the vendor that invited Vic, was that the rules, quote unquote, the rules in the convention didn't allow them to do that. However, there was literally 4 other booths that did it that were advertised by said people. At least. At least. Happy for CrappyCon people to be outed. You definitely never want to be San Japan, or you never went to San Japan if you knew how shitty the previous chairman was before them giving the boot. I think it was the chairman. This is the thing, folks. I want you to take criticisms of con owners largely in stride, because con owners get all the flack because they're the people that usually make the money. And the people that usually make the money are the ones that catch the most criticisms, whether justified or not. However, a lot of the people, not much Stacy. Hello, Stacy. We're just starting out. However, a large amount, like I would say a good 85 to 95% of the problems come from the volunteers to the people who staff the conventions. So that's what we're going to talk a little bit about today. We're going to talk a little bit about that today because I caused a bit of a ruckus that is still going. This is a 5-turn uproar on Twitter. There's a Pokemon reference for those people out there. You also read up in an article that illegal Razzle game was going on too. It wouldn't surprise me, honestly, Andrea. It would not surprise me. You don't want to throw everyone under the bus. That's true. No, this is the thing. It's most of the issues that come from a convention are people that have egos too big for their britches. Because the upper management, like the con management, if you're talking about independent cons, if you're talking about cons that are not just cookie cutter big box conventions, like the Anime North of the world and stuff like that, and the fan expos of the world. Anime North less so, because Anime North is kind of an indie con. It's like the evolution of an indie con. But if you're talking about those ones, upper management is literally fucking no idea what's going on. They have literally zero clue because they have so many things that they're doing outside of being on the ground and seeing what's going on. That's why a lot of the psychopaths that get into conventions can get away with so much, because they don't find like that stuff that either never gets found out because there's way too many sources that it goes through. Think of it like a VPN, right? Think of it like a virtual private network. There is so many different servers that information has to go through before it gets to the main ISP, which is the con owner in that respect. So there's so many different things that could have possibly gone through, which is why these people never get found out. And you wouldn't know about it unless you've like ran a convention where you've had this shit and you'd had to look into it before. So this is kind of why I want to peel back the curtain a little bit and expose these scumbags, because it's not the con ownership as a whole. I mean, there are bad owners out there. Absolutely, there are bad owners. Two out of the 3 for Anime North, for example, terrible owners. But it's largely not the ownership that knows what's going on in terms of what the little fine details, because they trust the little fine details to the volunteers and staff to take care of, or in some cases just the staff. But staff has a very, very good way of covering up their tracks by making it seem like things are going fine and then feeding false information and et cetera, which is why we're going to talk about this today. talk a little bit about that today. We're also in the future. So this is part one, right? This is part one. I want to get Stan on the show to talk about this too. And there's another individual who has owned and operated conventions who may have worked with Stan that is very vocal, that really, really wants to talk about the con mafia. So I'm going to try to get a few con organizers together for a pseudo big brain panel, to steal the term. So we're going to talk a little bit about that in the future. We're going to talk about we run conventions, we run anime conventions, the Con Mafia group, and we're going to talk about what impact they have and peel the curtain back on some of the things that they have said about individuals who work under them. Now, I kicked up a storm on Twitter earlier this week by imploring people who have volunteered through staffing at a convention, or what have you, like volunteer staff, everything else like that. I tell them, it's like, look, folks, if you want to talk about a convention, talk about your station in the convention. If you are talking about a convention like you have owned and operated one and organized one, and the highest you have done is manage a department, just stop talking. Just stop it. Just shut up. Because you have literally no idea what goes into a convention. I can tell you right now, as someone who has co-operated a convention, I have done the highest level of management at a convention level. There is information that does not get trickled down past the top people. There are people that might think that they sit on the board, or they might think, oh, I've been an executive. You don't get information because there is information that does not go past the ownership. Sorry to break it down to you, but you're not important enough to get that information because you have not staked anything in the convention. That's the hard truth behind it. Sometimes it's only the people that put their money and investment into it, and sometimes you have just not invested enough into it to be included. Did I see that nobody lined up at Amanda Winley because she was smoking? Yeah, Amanda Winley's a piece of work. To go on and fully admit that you were intoxicated at a convention that you're being paid to show up to, and then complain because no one is showing up to your line. Yeah, that's a monka. She may have been at a panel, but you doubt she had a big line. These people, obviously, any guest that goes to a convention has a panel, regardless if they're drawing or not. I've had guests go to conventions and have a panel that no one showed up to, which is also a funny thing because some conventions actually hire or direct volunteers to go and sit on panels that are empty. Just keep that in mind too. Sometimes there are conventions out there that they don't have any. They know they're not a draw for, and so they direct a group of their volunteers. If they have a bunch of them sitting around doing nothing, which happens sometimes, then they have convention. They have convention volunteers. What the hell am I saying? Panel volunteers to go in there and sit down in regular clothes and look like they're filling out the panel. That's another thing that I'm going to get people screaming at the fucking clouds for on Twitter. I'm pulling back all the curtains today. So let's see. People obviously don't have jobs like running a business. You can cause a ruckus or something. Manager will be down your throat if something goes wrong. Corporate will be on management's ass. Absolutely. Absolutely. Didn't she joke about her son wanking to Twitter or something really fucked up? I mean, she did a striptease at a children's show to the shock and dismay of literally everybody, and allegedly sexually assaulted a penguin or on stage. So there you go. Apparently that happened. You heard that Lee bitch got stoned off her ass during an autograph session. That seems to be her MO. It seems to be her MO. So, hey, it is what it is. The apple didn't fall too far from the tree. It was an attractive penguin. I mean, yeah, I mean, I agree. So, yeah, we're going to talk a bit about that today. Justice for Pen. Hello, Edgy Bobby. Hello, Dawn Wanderer. How you doing? Good day, everybody. Everybody. Yeah, she had a bunch of edibles. So she wasn't smoking. From my understanding, she was taking heavy concentrations of CBD oil and edibles, and she got herself completely rocked at her table. So shocking, number one. I mean, if I was a convention, here's the thing, folks. Most conventions have some sort of clause saying that you cannot be under the influence. Some conventions don't. I mean, depending on the guest too. But some conventions have something saying that you'll be in a sound mind, etc., 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 when you're at the event, which means no alcohol, no drugs, no nothing until after you're not being paid to be there, from X time to X time. After that time, you can do whatever the hell you want. You can go out and rail as many lines of coke as you fucking want to. But while you're at the convention being paid, please don't. Some conventions have that, not everyone does. We're gonna dip into because we're talking about some yikes hard stuff. So we're gonna dip into a Mike's Hard Blue Freezy. Not sponsored, by the way. I just picked these up yesterday. Just picked them up yesterday. God, it's so fucking good, man. I got some JP Wisers for the holidays too. I got some JP Wisers. Not yet sponsored. God damn it. Oh, the Mike's Hard Blue Freezy. It's so good. It tastes like a Blue Freezy. It's so crazy. Where's the merch? Oh, you said that magical word. Let me pull it up real quick. Let me pull up the merch. There's probably some sort of a deal on today. Oh my god. My mouse is like floaty. Like when I go to click on something, it just moves down. It does taste like an actual Freezy. Yes, it does. It actually tastes like a Freezy. It's so fucking crazy. We gotta do the shillin'. Somebody asked for the shillin'. So the shillin' is on its way. The shillin' is on its way here. We actually did have a couple new items, by the way. Yeah, you got to try it. It's actually really fucking good. Like no lie, it's actually really fucking good. Okay, let me pull up the window capture here. Is that the right one? I don't want to pull up the one here that's like the wrong thing. So let me just pull up the. There we go. Boop. Whoa, that's huge. All right. I don't have the second to do this here, but I'm going to paste the link to the shop in chat here. You're waiting for a Knucklehead snack tray. You have the Major League 4-course snack tray. Merchandising. What do you think that Comic-Con listened to Amy Imhoff? I don't know if she's Emmett Plant's wife, but she is a freaking nobody. So, I think that there's a number of things. Again, I think this is not a management decision. I think this was some psychopath that intercepted some emails and stepped over their station. I think that's probably what happened, and management was leaving it to them to decide what to do. I don't know if she's Plant's wife or not. Yeah, so we have a couple new items. We have the official tie headband. This is a headband, by the way. It's just like a straight up twist headband. You just put that right on your head if you want to. So there's that. 10%. So these are 10% off right now. You get the official Canuckleheads Dartboard. I know a specific Toye that might be interested in throwing darts at this. You can see this wonderful dartboard. It is like it looks so fucking good. It looks so fucking good. It has the maple leaf right in the middle there for the bullseye. Knuckleheads on the top. There's the fleshlight and the silver bullet. If they only had them on here, like seriously, if they only had them on here, you can get your own. You can get your own lip balm too. So you can get the official Canuckleheads lip balm. It comes in a bunch of different flavors, by the way. You can get your stylish lip balms, 10% off right now. We have wrapping paper, so right in time for the holidays, if you want to get your official Canuckleheads wrapping paper, look at how fucking sexy that would be under a tree. Look at how sexy that would be. Look at that. Who would not love that right now? Flashlight comes in a remote casing. Look at how fucking sharp this would be. Look at this. Look at this. Does that not scream holidays right now? Yeah, you need that wrapping paper. 30% off right now, by the way. 30% off. We have a two-tone mug now. We have a two-tone mug. You can get your very own two-tone mug. Comes in a bunch of different colors. The black is really sharp. The red is really sharp as well, by the way. The black and the red turn out really nicely. You can see red turns out really nicely on that one too. Yeah, the paper is like really, really fucking nice. Yeah, really, really nice. We still have the playing cards. The playing cards are great. We have the Major League 4-course shirt. If you want to get on the memes of the channel right here, we have the Major League 4-course shirt. The guy in the picture is not included, unfortunately. Is this stream about asshole conchairs and furries who abuse most of the power? Very close, Joe Dirt. Very close. So we're kind of setting the tone for part 2. So for people who are just joining, we're going to be talking about why conventions have problems, and it's not who you think it is. It's not necessarily the conchairs. The staffing and the volunteers are largely reasons why. And then we're going to be setting up part 2 of the stream when we get, hopefully we can get Stan Dallin on the show, and we can get somebody who had worked apparently closely with Stan, or at least worked with Stan, and who has owned and operated conventions and has had run-ins with the We Run Conventions Con Mafia. So we're going to be talking about that a little bit. Right now we're shilling. So you have this wonderful Major League 4-course shirt. Of course, on the back you have the remote control to keep you in line, because you always have that discipline on your back. Just in case, right? There you go. You have the Major League 4-course shirt. That one is going pretty well. I have the flask. I have the flask and the shot glass. 30% off on the flask right now, which is great. What else do we have here? Looking for like memorabilia. We have the Major League 4-course baseball. We have the bottle opener. The flip flops are really good. They're solid fucking motherfucking flip flops. They are solid ass flip flop. Let me tell you. We have the leggings. We have the I should use the cozy. Use the cozy. I have the can cozy. It keeps your drink nice and cold. There you go. Keep my blue freezy nice and cold there. Yeah, the bitch slapping chanclas. They are big motherfucking heavy flip flops. You want the shower curtain? We have the shower curtain still 30% off for the shower curtains. Makes a great gift. There you go. We have the bandana, official bandana, 10% off. We have the Major League 4-course snack tray. What would you do without this? You have the serving tray. The chocolates. We have the Major League 4-course snack tray as well, so you can check them all out. You can check out all the merch that we have here. I don't really make any money off these. This is strictly for you guys to like have fun with and have the merchandise. There you go. You can check it out. Check out the merchandise. Merchandising. Someone wanted to see it, so there you go. Yes, we're going to talk a little bit about what goes on at conventions and why it's really, really difficult to need to guilt Nikki into having me on his show. Yeah. I mean, that's all you guys. That's all you guys. I mean, is what it is. Nick doesn't talk to me much. So, I don't know what to tell you. I don't know what to tell you. Does a snack tray come in whale size? It does come in black, Tom. So if you want it in the natural wood grain, or you can get it in black. There you go. To match your bowl. Get them flippy flops, Dr. Reddit. Do it. Yeah, I have them. They're over in the corner right now. They're pretty fucking solid. They make a good whap. And they're hefty too, so like if they're hefty, so like if you're of that persuasion, you can fucking chuck them and get some yards off of them because they got some heft behind them. You can knock down a fleeing child at 50 feet. Oh my goodness, what a fucking week, man. What a week. What a week we've had so far. So I kicked the fucking hornet's nest apparently earlier this week. And does it come in, put on glasses, arm's length? We had a heck of a week. Did I hear or see the news that DC Douglas is also being canceled because he reportedly linked a screenshot of the RE4? They can't prove it. He's denied it. They can't prove that he did it. And they're trying to cancel him over that because they failed to cancel him over his bathroom visit. But didn't stop Los Angeles Comic-Con from inviting him, so there you go. You have to pick up some of that stuff when you get financially solvent? Absolutely, Tom. So if that creep gets canceled. See, I reached out to DC Douglas. I sent him a very cordial invite. And I said, like, even though I disagree, or we might disagree with each other, I still want to give you a fair shake, and I still want to give you an opportunity to, tell your side of things. You want to come on and talk about it, or you want to give a statement? Still haven't received anything to this day, so I guess he's content with where he is. I suppose he's content with where he is, which is fine. Wish him all the best. But yeah, so we kicked off. We kicked off this week. Because I don't know what it is. When Vic got turfed from that convention, we saw a bunch of armchair event organizers flooding Twitter. Like, flooding Twitter. Everybody had some opinion about how to run an event. Apparently, they all know how to do it. And they were telling everybody else this is the new thing, right? First it was doctors, then it was lawyers, now we have con organizers. Everyone's a fucking con organizer on Twitter, apparently. So, I had a fucking enough of people coming on saying, well, obviously, Vic was canceled from this convention because, he said this and blah, 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 and he was breaking this 3.7 rule, blah, blah, blah. Like, go fuck yourself. You have no idea what you're talking about. First of all, Vic didn't break any rule at all. There was other people at that convention. There was other people who were not guests. They never announced themselves as guests, although they did announce that they were signing at a table, that were signing at tables for profit, and they were doing it to advertise the store, which Vic was going there to advertise the store. And from all indications, he wasn't charging for autographs. He just wanted to go and meet his fans. That's that's everything that I've been able to find out. There is no indication whatsoever that he was going to charge people for autographs. There is no indication whatsoever that he was going to sell his merchandise at there. Even if he did, that would be up to the store to sell the merchandise, not his responsibility. So his elf video got him canceled. Yeah, somebody needs to take that man's filter privileges away. Not allowed anymore. So it's a nice gesture. Yeah, I mean, he'll sign it at future gatherings, but people wanted to go there to see him right then. I dished out some top tier roast this week. Love to see it. I'm glad you enjoyed it, Ellie. So the point here is they took away, like, this hate mob took away the ability for fans to come to this convention and see who they wanted to see. Because the guest list was not robust. And I guess the guests kicked up a stink about them allowing Vic in there. The point is, this is something I've said to people before, right? I have said this to people at my convention. I've said this to people outside of my convention. I don't ask each guest that I have in if it's okay to invite some other guest. If I'm paying someone to be there and they don't want my money, that's fine. Find another event then. Find another event to go to. If I'm paying you $3,000, $5,000, $10,000 to show up at my event, and you're like, I don't want to go because the big man Victor is here, then fuck off then. I'll save my $3,000, $5,000, $10,000. And I'll get more people by not having you there. That's fine. The point here is, Vic never announced that he was a guest. He said he was going to be signing at a table, which coincidentally there was 4 or 5 other people at that event that did the exact same thing that he did. But apparently the rule only applied to Vic, right? They just wrote in a rule after the fact and then said, oh, it applies now. Do I think that DC Douglas doesn't want to be part of my show because I support Vic Mignogna? I mean, probably. I mean, DC Douglas has an extremely fragile ego for someone who's as famous as he is. The man gets really fucking turnt on social media for any sort of criticism that he gets. It's pretty fucking bad. Doctor at an Pro convention. Oh yeah, you're back here to update your username to reflect your skill set. This is the thing, like, I don't think people understand. When I invite someone onto my show, I'm at worst fair to them, neutral towards them. The second you leave my show, I'll tear you apart. I don't care. But when you're here, I will give you the courtesy unless you invite me to give you criticism, and then I'll give you criticism. But I will 100% give you courtesy and give you an opportunity to tell your side of things. I may challenge you, but I won't be disrespectful. Unless you give me a reason to be disrespectful, then I'll be disrespectful. Or unless you come on my show for the specific for the specific reason of blood sports, then you'll get blood sports. But when I invite someone on to have a chat, like I did earlier this week, which no one took me up on the offer. Shocker. Shocker. Yeah, he never said anything about being a guest, just to be sending stuff to the vendor. That's what I'm saying. That's all he did. You still have to check if Greg Ayres cussed out Vic. I have no idea behind that. I have no clue. He doesn't want to be asked legit questions that may paint him in a bad light. Absolutely. He doesn't want anything harder than a fucking liquid egg. That's the case of it. He wants the softest fucking things, and he wants people to just fall over him. Which, I mean, I get it. Fine. Go for it. I put out the offer to come on the show because I wanted to hear his side of things and, possibly give him an opportunity to clear the air. And he doesn't want to do that. So that's telling to me. The fact that he didn't even reply, period. This is not a fact, because I understand, like, I'm not a fucking Keemstar, right? I don't consider myself on the top rung of fucking YouTube. I'm not an Ethan Klein. I'm not a fucking Tim Pool, right? Like, I don't consider myself the top end of the YouTube spectrum. So, like, I don't expect people to come on my show. But the thing is like, the basic courtesy would be like, you know what? Thanks, but no thanks. That would be one thing. That would be one thing. But I didn't even get that, so that's fine. That's fine. Then again, who knows if he's even running his own Twitter, or he doesn't have Twitter anymore, but he got banned off of Twitter, but who knows if he's even running his own Instagram. No idea. There's like no way to contact him. So you love me, F those guys? Well, thank you. Thank you. I love you guys too. So this week we ended up making a I'm going to pull up a tweet right quick here. right quick here. Yeah, Douglas doesn't even understand the concept of courtesy. No. He's kind of an asshole. He's kind of an asshole. Just saying. Stepped away for a minute, and what happened? Nothing much. I basically invited DC Douglas onto the show, and he just didn't reply. That's all it was. Which, I mean, not a big surprise. Vic visited Chris on his deathbed, and Greg is still a dick. Yep. In summary, hello, Samantha. Welcome. God, I've made so many fucking tweets this week. Like, bear with me. I'm trying to find the tweet that I'm looking at that kicked off everything, by the way. Oh, yeah, never. You see, what pissed me off was I see these people saying, oh, people never, ever, 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 ever sign it at tables without, blah, 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 blah. No, they never, ever sign at tables without being a guest. No, of course. No, they totally don't. Except when they do. All the time. Except when they do. When the fuck did I make this tweet? Because, like, this is... I think we're getting to it now. We're getting close to it. It was after I had Eric on the show. Pretty sure. So, initially, I'm just going to start from here and then go up. Because this is going to take a minute. Go through 1 second. Initially. I have to tailor this 1 second here. Whoops. Where the hell did that go? There we go. I have to edit this so I can make it bigger so you guys can see it. So bear with me a moment. Where the fuck? Because I'm boomering this fucking thing. Those of you who are listening on the podcast, I'm sorry you guys are listening on like any sort of like Spotify device or whatever. You guys can't see this. But so I apologize ahead of time. But you're not missing much. I will read the tweets so that you guys can join along with us. Which, if you've not already checked out, we do have this on Spotify. We do have the show on anchor.fm that you can check out. There we go. I think that's big enough. Sam's front and center there. So we had the Eric Rollon on the show. So that moment when some nobody in Ontario, Canada has bigger balls than an entire convention in Los Angeles. Comic-Con, spineless, unprofessional, and soon to be hashtag bankrupt. Ichiban Chuck Huber did it for many years, would sell things with his girlfriend. So this happens all the fucking time. I'm going to get to it when we get to these tweets here. I'll comment on it when we get to these tweets. Just because there's some hilarious stuff in between here. So I'm sure that I'm sure the wife of Elephant Pants is incredibly proud of herself. After all, she's married to one of the most famous actors in Star Trek. You can see him right behind the Enterprise in this photo. Let me clarify something real quick. I don't know if the chick, I don't think the chick that reported the shit to the convention was Emmett's wife. I think his wife is somebody else. His wife, from what I understand, when she married a ham planet, she was actually like stick thin. I think she's gotten bigger now, but I don't think she's gotten that big. But definitely when he was wearing those pants that were literally a circus tent, yeah, she could fit in one of the pant legs. So I don't think that the Imhoff idiot is Emmett's wife. I was just saying that Elephant Pants' wife must be proud. I'm not saying that Amy Imhoff must be proud. I don't think that she's proud at all. I don't think she's proud at all. But you can see Emmett here right in the background. You can see Emmett. I don't know if you can. It doesn't show my mouse, but there we go. You can see Emmett right here. That's just the tip of his gunt right there. You see that they had to get they didn't have enough of the they blew all of the special effects budget on the Enterprise here, so they had to get a practical special effects, and so they just got Emmett to lift his shirt up right here. That's all it is. So I'm sure Emmett's wife is incredibly proud that he's like so famous in the Star Trek universe. So famous. Oh yeah, she does look chained down in that wedding photo. It literally looked like Jabba the Hutt with Princess Leia. You're guessing it was PR, but it 100% is just PR. 100% is just PR. So I got pretty pissed off reading all these idiots talking about this stuff on Twitter like they know what they're talking about. So I'm firing back on Twitter this week, like this particular week, December 3rd. Saying the sad part that these mutant loaches can't seem to grasp is that Vic is just showing up to sign autographs. I don't know firsthand, but did y'all winch nuts think that maybe Vic was signing for free? Nah, never crossed your cobbled brains. Because you don't care about anybody. You don't care about anybody. They never once thought that Vic was showing up for free to sign autographs for free. They thought that he was going there to sell all of his merchandise and that he was getting in there without a vendor pass and circumventing the vendor process, which they don't know. They don't know and they can't prove. They don't know and they can't prove. I said, you don't care about victims, you don't care about fans, you don't care about causes or POCs. You only seek to validate yourselves and strive to get a tingle of feeling in your flaccid, dusty, unused, and unwashed procreation tools. It's why you seek, and I meant to say shame here, but shame works just as well, and attack anyone who has a sort of a human relationship because you can't even find enough compassion to even begin to think about liking yourself, so you huff the fumes of your own bullshit, and you do the only thing that you have success in, which is failing. So as you can see, they're really pissed off because I'm getting double digit interactions here. Like 35 is not a lot, but hey. 35 is not a lot, but it's a lot to them. And I say here, oh, and one for the armchair con runners here, making absolutely zero fact hot takes. Exhibitors let people sell, sign, show up, etc. at the booths of conventions all the time. Most of the time it's fine and they don't even ask permission. It was likely talked about beforehand, but you buffoons wouldn't even know because it might have been okayed by a handshake deal. Nothing official means toothless do nothing who runs their social media account made the sacrifice to appease the hamsteroids that were threatening to riot in Wisconsin over it. Hashtag 4 doors more whores. Oh, it's definitely some Tiger King bullshit. It's absolutely some Tiger King bullshit. So here's what I'm saying. Here's what I want to get across to people who have literally never done this before. A vendor purchases a table space, a vendor booth, an area of space in your convention. Generally, they will sell whatever the hell they want to. They will put up whatever advertisement they want to. They will have whomever at their booth to sell things that they want to. The only restriction that most conventions have is how many people you can have staffing your booth because of space. As a general rule, and this is not one for every convention, as a general rule, the amount of people you can have at your booth to staff it is limited to the amount of chairs that you have at the booth. So if you have a large enough booth, you have 3 or 4 chairs, you can have 3 or 4 staff members. You have 1 chair, you can have 1 staff member, unless it's talked about with the convention. To assume that this vendor did not discuss bringing in a celebrity to help promote them doesn't matter. Here's the thing too. The conversation could have been, "Hey, con runners, can I bring in a celebrity to help promote my booth?" "Why, certainly you can." "Excellent." And then they bring in Vic Mignogna. There is no, "Well, who is it going to be?" Because you know what? That vendor is your customer. That vendor is your primary customer as a convention. A lot of people think that attendees are your primary customers. If you want guaranteed numbers of who is buying stuff from you, who is paying you, and you look at who is guaranteed, that is your vendors. Your vendors are paying you to be there. You have X number of vendor spaces, therefore, you have to make sure that you are getting people in there and that you're appeasing them. Because you want to see them come back. Because you want repeat vendors. They are your primary customers. Sorry, attendees. You are the secondary customers. Does that make you any less? No. Because there's a different role that you play at the convention. The entire purpose of having vendors at your event and having them pay you to be at your event is to have them make a profit, or at least make it profitable enough for them to be there instead of being at their store. So how do you do that? Well, you bring in attendees. Number 1, you have to make sure that the attendees can still buy stuff. So you have to tailor your ticket prices so that you're not overcharging the attendees to go there. Because if they don't have money, then they're not going to spend money. And this is free advice, by the way. This is free advice because I want to see conventions everywhere do well. So tailor your ticket prices accordingly. Because if you're not charging your vendors or you don't have enough vendors to make profit, then you're gouging your attendees. And then by gouging your attendees, you're hitting the bottom line of what your vendors can make. So if you're creating a ceiling of how much your vendors can make, you're going to piss your vendors off. And then you're going to end up like Anime North and only have 99% pop figurines. Because those will sell no matter what. But the point here is, your attendees are secondary customers because they at some conventions don't even pay money to get in. But you have to make sure that they're happy enough that they're going to spend money on the vendors. How do you make attendees happy? You give them cool guests. You give them cool events. You give lots of retention. Give them lots of stuff to do. You make them happy. You make them hungry. You make them spend money. That's the way this little triangle works. A lot of conventions can't seem to figure this out. So what is the problem here of bringing in a celebrity that you don't have to pay for? You don't have to pay for a celebrity to come into your event and draw more people in and make more people happy. Sign me up. I would love to not have to pay a Vic Mignogna, a J. Michael Tatum, Johnny Young Bosch. I would love to not have to pay them because I know they're going to come into the event to see that person. Because that's a net gain for me. If I have to, at bare minimum, spend $3,000, then I have to have X amount of attendees coming through spending X amount of dollars. Which, again, in case in point, takes away from what the vendors can make. So I have to make sure that there's enough attendees coming to offset what they're going to lose. These are things that staffers and volunteers have absolutely zero grasp on. No idea. So, again, when it comes to allowing guests or cosplayers or, communities of people to come into a vendor space for free if they have the space for it, because the vendors usually cut a deal with the person coming in. So say a Chris Rager is coming in to sign autographs. He's not a guest at a convention, but he's coming in to sign autographs at said convention, etc., etc. He's probably cutting a deal with the vendor to be there. The vendor is either paying him to be there, or they're allowing him to do something like sell something at the table to be there. And so they're giving up part of their space to allow this person coming in essentially for free. And then they come in and they make their money, and they would generally make more money than they did without that person. Usually how that goes. So the convention benefits because they don't have to pay for an extra guest. They don't have to pay hotel and travel and food and per diem and everything else like that. They don't have to pay for that because this person's coming in of their own volition. But they're getting the benefit of having that person there. So tell me, armchair organizers on Twitter, why is that a bad thing for a convention? The number one excuse I got on Twitter, the number one excuse, oh, that's going to cause an unauthorized line. You know who thinks that an unauthorized line at a convention is a bad thing? A line jockey, a door jockey, a literal nobody, someone who volunteers at a convention or staffs a convention. Con organizers, con owners, they don't think that a lineup is a bad thing. Absolutely not. If you tell a business owner that a lineup is a terrible thing, you know what look they're going to give you? They're going to be like, why are you still here? You were fired 10 minutes ago. The only people that have an issue with there being a lineup or line control are these little egos that think that they're bigger than their station. They think they're bigger than their station. They're the self-imposed like con authorities, right? They're the volunteers that literally have no responsibility whatsoever. They're the staff that have literally no responsibility in the convention at all, but they take it upon themselves. They're the Frank Castle wannabes, right? You know who I'm talking about. So the big burly guy, right? Goes to volunteer at a convention wearing a fucking camo like body armor vest. It's like, dude, you were literally just taking tickets at the door. You need to relax. There are these people that think that they are more important than they are at a convention. And it's so funny. It's so hilarious to see a Ginny McManus come out and say, volunteers are the most important things ever, and volunteers make the convention run. When I know exactly what you've said about volunteers behind closed doors. Very curious. Say that for when the cameras are rolling. I know exactly what you think about volunteers. The point is, yes, volunteers absolutely help. They absolutely... Hello, Demon Wolf. Not too much. You missed some shilling. Volunteers absolutely help reduce the strain for those of us who actually have important things to do during the convention. Because you people have been to conventions before. How many times have you gone to a convention and the volunteer at the door is playing on their phone, not checking tickets, not even there? How many times? It's because they're volunteers. They're just warm bodies that are there. We don't expect them to do the job of a paid employee because they're volunteers. I don't know what people can't get through their brain here. Most of the time, for conventions, I don't know about the US. Most of the Canadian conventions get students that are 15, 16 with their parents' permission, 17, 18, that need volunteer hours for their schools. And in exchange for just being there, not even doing a good job, just being there the entire weekend, in exchange for that, they get volunteer hours. Hello, Stan. They hate you when you ask what they're doing. Stan, I got to ask you, because this is kind of greasing the wheels for a future conversation, Stan. Would you be interested in coming on the show for a quote-unquote big brain panel of con runners if I can get this put together next year, like early next year after Christmas? I got to ask you, because I want to talk about the We Run Conventions group and the We Run Anime Conventions group, and I have someone who has been very, very in depth with that group that wants to expose these clowns. And I want to get a panel of con runners and con owners that can speak to experiences. I want to have a discussion in the future. Stand a man. I'm thinking about doing it like in January. Big brain panel? Sure, sounds awesome. So we'll do it sometime in January, I think. Just because Christmas is coming up and everyone's going to be tied up with the holidays. But we have people who have had experiences with We Run conventions and We Run Anime conventions, and the Ginny McManuses and the Shane Holmbergs. And all these people that are pretending to be con owners. And we can expose these clowns. That's going to be fun. Yes, Sam, you can come in too. Because you've been a part of that too. Yes, Sam. It's going to be a big brain panel. It's going to be like, we're going to get some people in here that have done this. You can send me, yes, exactly, Toyman. That's exactly what we want. You know, one of the biggest gotchas that they had this week. Hello, Wesley. Good to see you. Sorry you're at work. My condolences. The biggest gotcha they had against me was, you were banned from We Run conventions. You were banned from We Run anime conventions. It's like, well, first of all, I was never part of RAC. I was never part of We Run anime conventions. Aw, yes, big brain. I was a part of We Run conventions, which was like a sister group, which Ginny McManus was in. A bunch of the Kick Vicker people were in. I just kept my mouth shut. And I observed. And when they found out that I did the cardinal sin of inviting Vic Mignogna, Ragnarok Knight, if you have experience attending conventions, apparently on Twitter that makes you a con owner. So I made the cardinal sin of inviting Vic Mignogna to my event, so they banned me from We Run conventions. I posted one time in the group, once. I did nothing to violate the policies. I did nothing at all to break any of the rules. They banned me because I invited Vic Mignogna to the show. When they found out that I was in the group and that I invited Vic, they banned me. And everyone associated with my event, by the way. I guess, yeah, you're 100% a pro at a con now, Zero. You attended a con once. You were in the area code that a convention was happening one time. Oh my God. So yeah, I say you've never ran a convention, you've never ran a business, you've never ran a lemonade stand, you've never even ran a comb through your hair. Please tell me, for the love of God, tell me what makes any of you think that you know what goes on behind the scenes at the convention. Please tell me. Let's see this thread. Okay. Just a casual reminder, folks. There is no be nice and it'll go away. There is no be nice and it will go away. This is cyclical. If you haven't picked this up by now, this is a cycle. It goes on and on and on and on and on. It will never stop until we poke the fucking hole through the wheel. That was such a way with words and insults. They hated you when you said Vic was the easiest guest to work with. They all lost their fucking minds. This is a year before Vic's cancellation. I believe you. I believe you, Stan. Oh, we're going to have it. Yeah, so here's the thing, folks. I have a lot of time off over the Christmas season, so I'm going to be doing a lot of streams with folks who may not be celebrating with family or folks who don't celebrate Christmas. I will have a stream. Don't worry. I've got JP Wisers. We're going to have a great time. We're going to have a great time. Apparently, we're going to have a liquor shortage, so I picked up my alcohol before. We have a liquor shortage. This is cyclical. They always test the water, and they always come back and try to dig up fossils like it happened yesterday. And they always try to do it when they think nobody is looking. This happens all the time. I called this on December 4th and December 7th, 8th, and I'm sure December 9th and 10th, they've been doing it. They've been digging up fossils. They've been digging up old stories. They've been digging up anything they can to defame and harass me, which is hilarious, by the way. We're going to get into that in a little while. Because that's fucking funny. Tension, seeking for a certain pipsqueak. The only cure is complete, thorough, saturated, biting humiliation. Let them dip a toe in the stench bog and let that reek follow them for the rest of their lives. It's not a single person issue. This is a cancel cult. These people are broken and they seek out others like them. We've seen it. We've seen it in action. Someone coined the phrase, and I fucking love this one, and I'm stealing it. Flaw Twitter. We have Flaw Twitter. We have the Orbiters. and we have the convention owners that are all twirling together now. They all seek each other because they're all failures. All under the guise of a whisper network, an unchecked clandestine group that is nothing more than completely unverifiable rumor mill. This hurts real victims. Just because these goofs get one or two correct, like Crosby or DC Douglas, and ride the fear that anyone that they don't go after could be the one that got away, it's weaponized, it's callous to those who actually went through assault. And what's it for? It's for pettiness, it's for jealousy, it's for vengeance, it's pride. They're venomous piles draining tumors on society. It's time to cut out the cancerous cancelers and the companies that enable their vitriol and, frankly, terroristic habits. Let's just talk about that for a brief moment. There's a lot of people out there saying, oh, you know, go out and support your favorite events and go out and see the people you want to see. No. Put your fucking foot down, folks. If a company is going out there and it is employing, it is supporting, it is helping out these scumbags carry out this bullshit while giving them money, don't give that event or that company money until they stop. Period. Speak from your wallet. I am tired of taking the fucking high road because this is a cycle. They will shit on your fucking lawn and throw it on your front fucking door, and then when they get called out on it, oh, and then they do it all over again because we don't fucking do anything about it. It is time to stop supporting conventions that have Funimation actors at it. I know it hurts, but like Eric Roland said when he was on this show, he said, doing the good thing, doing the right thing may hurt sometimes. And that's why people don't do it. And then if enough good people don't do anything, then the bad people win. The bad guys win, right? Sometimes what we have to do hurts. Yeah, if we want to go to a convention that has our favorite voice actor at it, however, they also have Monica Rial and Chris Sabat and Sean Schemmel and Chris Rager. They're paying those people money to be there. You want them to stop? Say, you know what? No more. No more. No more will I enable this. No more will I support this. I am putting my foot down. And if you want to know why I'm not going to this event, it's because you support these companies. It's because you go out and you pay money to these people, and then these people turn around and destroy the very foundation of what these conventions are supposed to stand for. They don't listen to fans. They listen to people that don't even go to the events. Stop listening to nobodies on Twitter and start listening to your paying customers. And the only way to do that is to start. So don't support these companies. Don't support these conventions. Only support the conventions that listen to you. And we have this terminally online lunatic who's on his like 85th Twitter account. Who's saying that my 17 interactions means that no one's listening to me. Meanwhile, he has 0 interactions. I mean, something about glass houses and throwing stones. Let's scroll up here. We have more stuff to go through here. So I'm still baffled by the aggressive ignorance of these clowns trying to justify Vic being refused from a convention for quote-unquote breaking policy. Please point out what policy they broke. Because I can guarantee you there is no policy in existence unless they wrote one in after the fact. And yes, as a business, I absolutely don't want a massive drawing celebrity to show up at my show for free. Let's not, and folks, let's not lose sight. Like I say here, let's not lose sight of what's actually going on. Okay? Funimation is yet again threatening to pull support from a con that has Vic involved in any possible way. This is the only thing that makes sense here. If you're talking, because my understanding is Los Angeles Comic Con is not like a super con, right? It's not huge. They're bringing in Funimation voice actors. Yet again. Funimation has shown in the past that they have no fear of terminating agreements and are often times they are, or the agency group that is working under their umbrella, they are the guest relations for conventions. Most of these conventions in the United States don't have guest relations. They farm out their guest relations to groups like Funimation and the agencies that work for Funimation. This is all an incestuous fucking circle here. And you can point out XYZ agency. It's all Funimation. Let's make no mistake. Oh, it's this agency. It's not Funimation. No, they just exclusively work with Funimation, so they are Funimation. Yes, they get paid to be exclusive to Funimation and do work for their voice actors and get their voice actors in first. They are, for all intents and purposes, Funimation's agency. So if Funimation is threatening to terminate the relationship with conventions because they're working with people they don't like, it is time to tell that convention either you pick Funimation or you pick the fans. It is time for enough people to stand up and say, no fucking more. Stop supporting conventions that have Funimation voice actors and that have deals with Funimation. Period. Yeah, what lawyer has a failed one, Ragnarok Knight? That's what. Let me make this perfectly clear. The con's policy in not allowing additional people to boost is specifically for additional vendors. There's a big issue when you have someone to buy an artist table for cheap and they split their table with 2 or 3 other vendors. That's an issue because it takes away money from the convention. You think for a second the con was upset because Vic was going to sign items to attendees for free, then you need to scan your brain for brain damage. Guests don't pay for tables, Neanderthals. Guests don't pay for tables. This is an issue that I will explain because I can't do it in 120 characters or less on Twitter. When you're mapping out a vendor hall, okay? Most events, not all events, because some events just don't care what vendors come in. They'll have 1,500 pop figurine sellers. When you're mapping out a vendor hall, you want to make sure that the people that you've had coming for years, if they sell Pokemon cards, right? You don't want to get another vendor that sells Pokemon cards that will undercut them because you don't want to hurt their sales. So you make sure you have a good balance of vendors in the area. And a problem arises if you sell a vendor space to a specific vendor and then they in turn resell their space, or they can only be there for one day and they turn around and sell their space on the second day to a Pokemon card vendor. And that Pokemon card vendor is right next to the Pokemon card vendor that you already have. That's unauthorized. That could cause a problem. That's why you need to talk to the event. That's why you need to talk to the event about it. This Vic showing up to sign autographs thing has nothing to do with anything else. Period. He never said he was selling. He never claimed to be a guest. Other people conflated that he was going to be a guest. They were wrong. But this has nothing to do with current policies. Like my optimism that you don't think this will happen anytime soon because the cons need to tick the boxes like anime VAs. They won't go any further than that. This is what I'm saying. They don't need them. The old style of convention where you need to flood your convention with like 50 fucking actors and shit, that's obsolete. It's obsolete. You want to get people in there that the fans want to see. Number one. Listen to your fans and who they want to show up for. Number two, you don't have to go through Funimation to do it. The biggest problem that I am seeing in the North America, in the US convention industry right now, is that conventions, largely, the ownership has no idea what they're doing. They're flush with money. They have a lot of fucking money, but they have zero idea how to run an event. So they hire a business consulting firm that charges them way too fucking much. They look at them like a piggy bank and they say, okay, well, what's your budget? Oh, my budget's $75,000. Okay, great. We're going to go out and we're going to put a convention together for your $75,000. You can put a convention together for far less. Because the conventions they put together for $75,000 are $5,000 budget conventions. Because it's their best interest to get as much of that $75,000 budget as possible. So they'll make excuses about what they're spending the money on. This is one thing that these con owners don't understand because they've never run the business. They don't know. But these business consulting firms, these actual con jobs, they lie and they conflate and they say, "Oh well, this is absolutely a $75,000 worth convention." Meanwhile, it's a fucking $5,000 convention because these firms have connections with groups like Funimation. And instead of having their own, the business consulting firms don't have guest relations. They save money. They cut costs at every fucking corner. They don't have business relations or the guest relations. They farm their guest relations out to Funimation because Funimation has their own booking firms. And everything is on contingency. So they get guarantees. So is the con owner actually spending money on guests? No. Because they all have fucking handshake deals where they put money into their own fucking pockets. And at the end of the day, you're getting a fucking $5,000 convention for $150,000. And who's making the money on that? Not the con ownership. Not the vendors. So when we came out with Kitchener Comic-Con, my team and I, we came out with Kitchener Comic-Con and we pulled off a convention for less than $20,000 that outperformed another convention in the area that's budget was upwards of $200,000. I'm going to use 2 years as an example here. Year one, their advertising budget alone was $75,000. If I understand correctly, their entire budget was about $180,000 is what they spent on the convention, and they didn't make their advertising back. They didn't make. Let me reiterate that. They budgeted $180,000 for this convention. $75,000 of that was advertising alone. Okay? They didn't even make $75,000. They had a 3-day convention planned. They had to cut it down to 2 days. because they misbooked a room. So they lost an entire day. They lost an entire day because they had to refund vendors. They spent so much money advertising. They did it on Pancake Breakfast Weekend. They didn't even make a third of their bankroll back. The following year, I believe they dropped their budget down to like 80,000. It was under 100,000 this time. I don't know the exact numbers, but it was definitely much, much, much less than the first year. And they didn't even make 20K back. Their attendance was a third of what we had at Kitchener Comic-Con. A third of what we brought in. I'm not when I say when we brought something in, I'm not saying money. Let's get that out of the way. They charged ticket prices. Like, they charged for tickets. They charged admission. The first year, in the main vendor area, so they had two vending areas. They had the main building where all the big vendors were and the guests were, and they had the secondary building, which they shuffled off all the fan stuff too. Like, all of the fan retention, all of the attendee retention was in the second building. So your video games, your arcades, your bazaar, your panels, all that stuff was in the secondary building. In the first building, it had all of your guests and all of your big paying vendors because people were expecting everyone to stay in the first building. They charged $25,000 for people to vend in that room. One person, one store spent $7,500 on a booth in that room. One store. I'm not saying everyone collectively paid $25,000. I'm saying that was how much they got. $25,000 for people to vend in that room. And you know how much they made? You know how many people came by that booth that spent $7,500? Not only did they spend $7,500, this is the kicker, Stan. You're going to like shit your fucking pants. This was a t-shirt company. They spent $7,500 on a booth space. Okay? And this company provided all of the t-shirts for the staff, all of the t-shirts for them to sell for free. For free for the event. And they had nobody come to their booth. Zero. And this was an event that I offered my services for free to come and advise and help them out with. And say, look guys, this is your first event. We've put together some events in the region. We know what we're talking about. We can come on and help you guys out. We'll help out. Just give us a space in the convention. We'll help out. Blah 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 blah. You know, don't worry about consulting fees. Blah blah blah. No, we know what we're doing. We know what we're doing. You know, we don't need your help. All right, cool, no problem. The second year, no, the first year we were there. The first year we were there, when we attended, because there was a vendor that had purchased a table, and they let us come in and share the booth with them to advertise the following year's Kitchener Comic-Con. Shocker! It never happens, guys. It never ever happens. So when we were there and we were walking around enjoying the convention, because we had vendor passes, we had vendors chasing us down with money in hand, saying, "How much do you want for a deposit at Kitchener Comic-Con?" Like, this is horrible. How much do you want as a deposit at Kitchener Comic-Con? Like, we're literally leaving, like, tomorrow. We had people chasing us down with fists full of money. Because they were promised something that just never came to fruition. They spent a lot of money. The guests were basically bored out of their minds. They had no lineups. One of the guests, Jay Baruchel, was supposed to show up. He showed up a little bit later. He had the only lineup the entire show. And yeah, it was a fistful of dollars. Literally the shut up and take my money meme. We could have named any price. They say, how much do you want for deposit? $200. Done. Here you go. Here's the money. It's just like, oh shit. Hello, Miguel. How you doing? That is the How to Train Your Dragons guy. Yes, Don. Yes, it is. And he showed up, like, Jay Baruchel showed up for, like, I think 6 hours. And he got out of there as quickly as he could because it was bad. Like, this is what I'm saying. It's like they had a lot of pretty decent names at this event the first year. Second year, not so much. Not so much. Oh my goodness. Oh, here we go. Yeah. Jay's a really underrated Canadian actor. He's a great dude. And they got him in for that convention. Kudos to them. But unfortunately, they had nobody there. At all. Yes, Zero. Yes, SSJ0X. So imagine this. Imagine being this completely brainless here. So this wonderful Twitter specimen right here, hiding behind, who's very much like someone who's very much an executive, you know, super duper executive. Wait, you're serious? You really believe this conspiracy shit over the ideas that unauthorized autograph line in the middle of a dealer's hall being a bad idea? So this idiot's trying to say, like, this is one of the morons I was having a back and forth. Hello, Dark Strange Nico. This is one of the idiots I was having a back and forth with over Twitter. Regardless, because they were one of the ones that were saying, oof, I ran events before. Look at all the experience I have. But they haven't never ran an event in their life. They admitted that they only ran con security, which is not running an event. They're saying, wait, it's having an unauthorized event, having an unauthorized line is not a bad idea. No, having a captive paying audience is not a bad idea, actually. Damn, look at all of these paying customers just standing around. That's terrible. Said no convention ever. And they're trying, this is the most ironic, hilarious part about this entire thing. They're trying to say that I don't have a good faith argument. Meanwhile, they're coming in with bad faith arguments. Conventions are supposed to be for the fans. Absolutely. 100%. And apparently I was trending under Funimation, which was hilarious. I was trending under top when people were looking up Funimation. Go me. Yeah. So these idiots, so this person spent like fucking 6 hours trying to figure out what convention I worked for, by the way. Meanwhile, it's literally plastered everywhere. Yeah, he hasn't been in many movies recently. I do have 15 years of convention experience. I think like 8 or 9 of those has been within executive, and I think 6 or 7 of those have been within management. And I've been in 15 years of experience at nameless conventions. Yes, completely nameless. Completely nameless, like Anime North. And yeah, this random anime avatar here, you know, totally has 19 followers, saying that someone who has less than 1,000 followers and a Spotify link, you know, you're some nobody on Twitter with under 1K followers and a Spotify link. So says the 19 follower anime avatar. Yeah. And just more conflations. Like, I've been near a courtroom once, so I understand the law. People are completely morons. And so I think this person blocked me, so you can't see it. But conventions, this is the type of invertebrate that sends complaints to you about every event that they're never going to go to. They don't want you to succeed. They want your events to go bankrupt so they can feel better about themselves. Who wouldn't want a celebrity to show up for free? Who wouldn't? Which convention would not want? And it's no surprise that troglodytes such as this one are behind PR WokeCon teams, even though this mook is likely a peon and not actually in charge of anything in his life. These cowards have no idea what it means to stand for anything, which is why it's hard to imagine for them. For the record, my con staff support me. And they do. And they did. I may not be with Kitchener Comic-Con because I resigned like 2 years ago. I've already stated this multiple times. These people are so inept at research whatsoever. They have no idea what's going on. I left Kitchener Comic-Con, I think it was like 2021 or 2022, like the beginning of 2021, because of creative differences with the owner of the event. Even though I was co-operator of the event, I was basically told that my opinion didn't matter. And so I'm like, all right, fine. I'm out. I didn't appreciate the way that he was conducting business with certain things. And so I decided I'm not going to compromise my integrity. I'm going to move on, do my own thing. I didn't want to be a distraction from the team, so I left. And I'm confident that the staff at Kitchener Comic-Con are capable enough of running an event. That's what I'm going to say about that. I don't agree with certain things that the owner does. That's fine. He's the owner. He can do what he wants. I don't agree with it. I don't have to stay there. And so I didn't. However, my con staff and the people that staff and still staff at Kitchener Comic-Con, they do support me. And they have given me their word that if I do some event or if I do some work, they would be happy to work with me and they will 100% be behind me. Yeah, it was like late 2020 or something like that. Late 2020. And not like the goons who work for a corporate con TM. People have heard of me and my convention, and we've won multiple awards to show our work for. Nobody knows you. Nobody knows what you do. That pissed them off, by the way. That really, really burnt their ass because they don't have events that have won awards. They come back and say, "Oh well, you don't win awards. You." Yeah, we won, I think, 7 awards over 2 years. How many awards have you guys won? Oh, it's just a defunct newspaper. Yeah, it's a newspaper that has a circulation of about 3 million people. 3 or 4 million people. And it's a branch of the Toronto Star, which has a circulation of like 6 or 7 million people. Oh yeah, and we totally ballot stuffed, folks. Against we won against some little known events such as Oktoberfest and TD Blues Festival and Jazz Fest and the Elmira Maple Syrup Festival. Yeah, we won against those little known attractions. Yeah, we won best event, best indoor event, best festival, best tourist attraction. But yeah, no, we stuffed the ballot against these massive corporate conventions and events. They won the win prize of the pharmaceutical contest. But they have nothing to show for it. They have literally nothing. They have literally nothing to show for it. So they're mad. Like, oh, well, anybody can win a tiny little... And this is over... Like, we have 2 publications There was one small newspaper that we won Reader's Choice Awards in, and we won Reader's Choice Awards in a major newspaper. So there you go. Ricada's like, he's weird. I worked at a convention. Flexes are really puzzling me. That's what I'm saying. There's so many people that are like, oh, I worked at a convention once, therefore I can run and own them. So here was the tweet that really salted their hemorrhoids. You want to drill to the skull? Everyone's gone to the dentist a few times. So this after 2 days, after 2 days of enduring the absolute liquefied stupidity on Twitter, I had to come out and say this. I'll say this: if you volunteered, staffed, attended, seen from the car window, complained about on Reddit about a convention at all, you have no idea how conventions are actually run. Zero idea. Until you've put your own money, time, blood, sweat, mental health down, please shut up. And this tweet, apparently, is me saying that I don't value my volunteers and I don't value my staff and I mistreat volunteers and I abuse staff. This tweet apparently is somehow conflated to that I abuse my staff. So you may have been a guest liaison. Great. You didn't book them. The hotel, the vendors, coordinate budgets, handle sponsors, handle venue politics, handle last second changes, handle cancellations and rebooks, handle advertising, handle PR, handle volunteers. Need I go on? You simply showed up. You complained about the ownership, made up stories about the guests, left bad reviews on Twitter and Reddit, and collected your free admission pass. Shut your hole. Literally have no idea what it takes to run an event, even poorly, let alone successful. So the armchair organizers on this platform, considering that you have so much time and experience, get off Twitter and go start your own event. Without hookers and blackjack, and count your clout pennies and woke dollars that you're going to collect, and please try and pay rent with them. Please try and pay rent with them. Oh yeah, it's some amazing projection. The thing that one of the things that has astounded me the absolute most this entire time is how much they're admitting to. Because they're accusing me of all of these things, which means it's in their brain, which means stuff that they do. Oh yeah, absolutely zero. Absolutely. Running a con is a huge pain in the ass, but seeing the fan smiles and hearing the gratitude makes it worth all the aggravation. Absolutely. Absolutely, Tom. That's why I even consider doing it. That's why I even consider doing it. What about the con sluts? This louse is claiming to be high profile and yet comes on Twitter to stir the pot behind an on account. Yeah, dude. I may actually even believe this because he's the type of troglodyte that sits back and treats their con staff like trash while collecting a paycheck from their 99% pop figurine vendor haul. Love it. And for the love of all things holy, please never, ever appoint a dyed brain wackadoo to con safety, even as a throwaway appointment. This person here, Langland on Twitter, this person here was admitted to, they started out as being the owner of several big name conventions. Then it trickled down to being, I was executive on boards of several big name conventions. Then it trickled down to, I was in charge, I was the head of safety at a convention once. Yeah. I'm sure you were. Never even as a throwaway appointment. Don't give someone a job of standing at a door and having any sort of authority at all, because they instantly turn into Frank Castle. They instantly turn into the Punisher. They're psychopaths. They are psychopaths. And they're actually trying to argue against the fact that 99% of staff have absolutely zero idea what actually goes into running a convention. They know what they do, but are they actually going to say that most staff know everything that's going on? Like, surely they're not that stupid. But they are. And FYI, I'd run a con by myself before I'd allow a lunatic social media mob clown like the one I was replying to volunteer at my convention. And for the record, we did. We did. The convention that we had Vic Mignogna, we did it with little to no volunteers. Because we had a woke group last second try to sign up and volunteer for the event. I don't know if y'all heard this story or not, but we had a group of like 10 people that all signed up at the same time and all showed up to a volunteer meeting at the same time. And they tried to make this big fucking stink about some stupid rule that we already actually had and they said that we didn't have. And they tried to turn it into this big fucking production and we told them to get the fuck out. We kicked them out. Said, we don't need you. Get out. Get out! Get out! Out! Took the same bus. We kicked their ass out. And we ran the event perfectly fine without them. The convention went on without a hitch. No problem whatsoever. Don't understand volunteers. Can they not afford to go to the con? Is it for work experience? A large thing depends on the convention. It depends on rules in your state and province and whatever else. But here in my area, we generally try to get younger kids, like 15, 16 need their parents' permission. But high school age students, high school age kids need volunteer hours to graduate high school. And so we reach out to the high schools, we reach out to kids in the high schools and say, hey, you want volunteer hours for basically nothing? Come and volunteer for the weekend at our event. You'll have a cool time. You know, we're not super duper restrictive on things. You can collect your volunteer hours and have a really good fucking time at the event. That's what we do. Sometimes we get adults to come in and volunteer because they want to help out. But a large amount of people previously volunteered because they had no other way to go to the event, because they couldn't afford it. And because events in the past made it so that the event would pay for the hotel and pay for the ticket. That doesn't happen anymore. Yeah, it's community service. It's a certain amount of, I think it's like 40 hours of community service or 80 hours of community service that they have to do or something like that. Hope you have someone who's a qualified cooler on your security team. You've told your security team to do the same in the movie Roadhouse. Be nice until I tell you to not be nice. Exactly. So one of the other things that we got criticized for heavily was one of the years that we were running Kitchener Comic Con. It wasn't even us that came up with the idea or the GoFundMe. There was a partner that we were working with that owned a bar downtown here, and we were running an event pre-show, like basically come and cosplay at the bar, whenever else, blah blah blah, and it was a Kitchener Comic Con pre-show party. Now, we were told last minute that we had to have this specific, insurance package or whatever else, and that we had to pay for the venue up front. Now, normally what we had with the city was that we would have the event, and we could pay for the event after. Like, we could pay for the space after when they send us the invoice, because we had like bursaries and grants that we worked with the city. So they were particularly late on this particular bursary, I think it was, or a grant or something. I don't remember. But basically they were particularly late on deciding on this one thing, and they say, "Oh yeah, by the way, you have to have this amount of money or else we're not going to let you set up." And we're like, but we've done it every other year, no problem. I'm like, yeah, but this year's different. So this is like 2 weeks before the show. And we're like, okay, well, this is a problem. So the person who owned the bar, who was not on staff, who was just a partner and helping us, and basically just like, we were running a show at his establishment and he was helping us out with advertising. Just literally, that was it. It was a partnership. He started a GoFundMe as an emergency GoFundMe to get like $2,500 or something like that, so that we could pay off what we needed to pay off to basically set up at the show. So long story short, at the end of it all, the bursary or grant or whatever it was, it went through, and then they're like, okay, yeah, you don't have to worry about that no more. And we're like, oh great, well thank you for making us like shit our pants for like 2 weeks. But so we ran the GoFundMe, and I'm trying to tell the people in our Facebook in our staff group, like, look, if every one of us just pitch in like $20 and we'll have the money, because we had enough people at the time. Like, if we all pitch in like this amount of money, we'll have enough to cover this and we won't have any issues. We ended up raising like $47. $47. And so we shut the GoFundMe down, because it's like, well, obviously people that are going to the convention don't really care. People that are staffing the convention don't really care. I guess we'll just have to find what we can do. So we didn't create the GoFundMe. It was this other guy that created the GoFundMe. And so we shut it down. We're getting criticized that we were forcing our staff to bankroll our convention. Meanwhile, over at Anime North, for years, 4 years, they're charging their volunteers full price admission. So if you were volunteering at Anime North, you had to purchase a ticket. Okay? You had to purchase a weekend pass at Anime North to go as a volunteer. And then over the weekend, you would be monitored. And then depending on how many hours you volunteered at Anime North, you would get a percentage of your pass back. If you worked the entire 80 hours or whatever it was, I don't remember the hell it was. I'm just pulling a number out of my hat. And if you work like the entire 24 hours or whatever it was that you're supposed to get, you get a full reimbursement on your pass. And they used to have it so that they had volunteer hotel rooms, so that it was like a group. If you had a group of people, you can go and take a volunteer hotel room. You could sleep there if you were from out of town, blah, blah, blah. And that was all paid for. And they would give you a meal or two a day, what have you. As the years went on, perks got cut back. Your power just came on, Action Toys? Oh my God. Welcome. So the perks got cut back and got cut back and got cut back. A couple of years ago, just before the pandemic, they changed the reimbursement rule. So, in order to volunteer as a volunteer at Anime North, you need to purchase an entire weekend pass. You need to pay for your own hotel room. And instead of getting reimbursed for literally anything, so they don't pay for meals anymore. They don't pay for hotel rooms. You have to pay for it all yourself. And instead of getting your pass reimbursed, they give you con swag. Aren't you excited? They give you a bag and a t-shirt and like cool con stuff, man. Yeah, that's better than a getting your money back for your weekend pass, right? But Kitchener Comic-Con bad because we asked our staff to literally help out in a 0-hour situation, which we offered refunds on the $47, by the way. And the two people that donated didn't want the refunds. And so we're apparently the bad people because we charged our volunteers and we didn't even charge our volunteers and staff, first of all. But Anime North and Fan Expos and all those things, they're allowed to charge their volunteers. Yeah, it's a common thing. Stan, it's a common thing that happens, right? It's a common thing that happens in most conventions. In order to volunteer, you have to, you volunteer, you buy a pass, and you get your pass reimbursed. Usually how that goes. But Anime North wants you to spend $90 on a weekend pass, not reimburse you anymore. You get con swag, and you have to pay for your own hotel, you have to pay for your own transportation, you have to pay for your own everything. So you're basically attending a convention and you're paying to volunteer for it. Fucking mind-blowing. When I found that out, mind-blowing. May as well just go to the convention at that point. Not worry about volunteering. Take your fucking $5 con swag. Jesus Christ. And so Sephi here, Sephi is one of the people that I want to get on this big brain panel, by the way. Has been a DJ for a bunch of different events, has run their own event. Absolutely now more than ever for the future generations need us, and this is why it isn't a hobby for me anymore, but rather my duty. Fucking say it louder. Say it louder. Oh yeah, never happens, by the way. Never happens that people show up at a convention uninvited and signing a booth, by the way. Except when it does. Totally never ever happens, guys. Won't somebody think of the floor space? Oh, I guess that only applies to actors that draw a crowd. Not literal who's. Or I mean literal booze. Josh Martin is going to be signing autographs and taking pics at the Sunday at the booth. Yeah, dude. Fan Expo Dallas, Jabba's Toy Palace booth. He's not a guest. He was not a guest. Yeah, want to volunteer? That'll be $90. Yeah. Oh, yeah, and here's another one. Here's one from Los Angeles, by the way. Comic-Con LA. Look at this. Doesn't this sound familiar, folks? Huh. Really? I guess Neil Kaplan, Tom Gibbous, and Maile Flanagan. Mailey Flanagan, whatever the person's name is. I guess they got kicked out of the event too? For signing at booths when they weren't listed guests? Huh. I wonder. Yeah, and they were all at 1409. They were all at one booth. 3 extra people that weren't on the guest list at one booth. Somebody think of the lineup. Somebody think of the line. I can't believe the unauthorized lineup in the high traffic area. I can't believe they were allowed to have 3 extra celebrities at their booth. Wow. Same event, by the way. It never happens until it does. Oh my God. And then this one. This one here. This one here. Montello in training right here. You must have run some shitty, unprofessional events. As someone who's worked a bunch of different cons over the last 13 years, including running vendor halls and chairing, you are wrong. As someone who has been an attendee, a guest, a vendor, an owner, an operator at conventions for 15 plus years, you're wrong. You're wrong. Montello wannabe. This is like a Bioway version of Lynn Hunt right here. So taking a cursory glance at this absolute gem of a Twitter user who's clearly more established in the conosphere than I am. She retweets this. She retweets this. Under capitalism, food isn't produced to feed people. It's produced to make a profit. When it's not profitable to feed people, we let them starve. Even when our labor has conquered scarcity, capitalism must manufacture it in order to justify its existence. Capitalism bad, folks. This is the type of person that infiltrates these events. Never employ these kind of mental lunatics at any event. Why would you want someone who literally hates capitalism at your business? Never, ever, ever let someone like that in your fucking convention. And stunning and brave from Ginny here. Stunning and brave for her to jump out in front of the ghost train. The most valuable, laudable staffer at a con isn't the chair or director or anything. It's the person willing to check badges at the door. Wow. Did you toss that seal right back into the fucking oil pit, into the oil pit after you fucking took the photo op? Did you drown the fucking chick after you washed it off? Cons don't run without ego-free rank and file staff. That I can agree with. However, there is no such thing as ego-free rank, file, and staff. Leadership owes them everything. That's why conventions like Anime North charge their volunteers to volunteer for them. Because they mean everything. And I'm sure you really, really feel that way, Ginny. I'm sure you do. There's certainly, definitely not any screen caps or posts or tweets or anything out there whatsoever that would contradict what you say right here. So it's hilarious that these clowns conflate my saying 99% of staff and volunteers don't know what goes into running a con with somehow saying that they're useless. Some would call that a Freudian slip. Some would call that a Freudian slip. Oh, and here's one of our good Flaw-Twittians. One of our good Flaw-Twittians here defending the fact that their narrative was completely blown out by the fact that 3 fucking voice actors were at a single booth that weekend at the same convention. Since folks are still jawing about this, I'll point out at least one booth at this convention had their own guests. But I bet that they did not treat their signing sessions like an ambush. All right, Mike Toole, you should probably get that face checked out. I mean, looks like it's stuck that way after a stroke, but... Had Q mitigation measures I'm sure you know exactly everything that went into that. I'm sure you know the agreement they had. I'm sure you know the agreement that the other vendor had, and I'm sure you know the differences between the two. I'm sure you know, Mike Toole. I'm sure you know. Well, when you're talking about it from a business perspective, Ellie, from like having a problem with communism to like full out, or not communism, having a problem with capitalism to full out like attacking capitalism and saying that it should be abolished. One of those two is probably a detriment to have on your team as a business. Yeah, for a group that likes to condemn gaslighting, they sure are fucking good at it, man. And it ain't gonna work on this crumb. It ain't gonna work on this crumb. Because after that point, we started getting the flaw Twitters. We started getting the Tubaccas of the world and the Buttocks of the world rolling in. They're 100% delusional. 100% delusional. And yeah, dude, they're totally not a con mafia, guys. They're totally not a con mafia. When we have this person here who looks like Monica Rial in a face mask, adding Kitchener Comic-Con, literal Karen tweeting at Kitchener Comic-Con, they've been making an absolute diaper baby tantrum in a thread being passed around by North American con runners. Totally not a con mafia, though. They're totally not a con mafia, guys. Oh no, the big bad con mafia in the United States is talking about me, a small con, quote unquote, in Canada. Whatever will I do? They're so pissed off at me right now. However will I be able to run a con without the approval of Jenny McFatneck and Sheila Solmberg? But yes, this is part one. We're going to talk about we run conventions and we run anime conventions in another Power Keg Greg, yes, clowns. We're going to talk about this group here, and we run anime conventions in another stream. We're going to get Stan Dallin. We're going to get Seffi. We're going to get Sam Flynn in here. We're going to get a big brain panel. Whoops. I did not mean to do that, Ellie. I'm sorry. I hit the wrong button. My mouse is floaty. There you go. You guys can see it. Can I undelete that? Here, I'm going to add you as a moderator. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to do that. So yeah. Absolutely con mafia. Circle jerk of woketivist morons. Exactly. So they're really a collection of slime farmers, because we're gonna get a panel of big brains. We're gonna get a panel of big brains on here to talk about this, and that will be a show in January, because we're gonna be doing some holiday festive stuff next week. I'm gonna go see Spider-Man next week. I'll talk about Spider-Man, but we're gonna be doing that because it's gonna be pretty close to the holidays and everyone's gonna be busy. So we're gonna save this juicy topic for the first show in January, probably. These types have been running a mafia that collude and gatekeep convention scene to shit on paying customers, gatekeep vendors and guests, and pat themselves on the back. The tooth has rotted and it's killing the bone. It's time to pull. Time to pull it. Mind if I promote your channel on other avenues of social media? Go for it, Miguel. I'd appreciate it. Go for it. I would appreciate that muchly. Yeah, they don't have jurisdiction anywhere, by the way. It's so funny. Like, they think that they have jurisdiction over the entire convention community, and they're so fucking pissed off that I was successful. DM email addresses. So yes, I will definitely do that, Stan. So yeah, Sephi is on record here saying rack is the worst thing that can happen to an anime fandom to fandom, and you can't wait until the day they're forced to hit the mattress. Bunch of. I'm not gonna say that word because I'm pretty sure it's banned on YouTube, but I know what that means. I said, yeah, I was part of the group quietly for a long time. They're snakes. They collude. They gatekeep. They rumor monger about guests, vendors, and attendees. Had potential, but the woke toxicity has warped it into a mafia of rats and vipers. It's a great idea in principle. No worries, Miguel. I appreciate it. Even the lurk. I appreciate it. Finals week has been on your mind. Now it's finally ended. Congratulations on making it through finals. We Run Anime Conventions is RAC. We Run Anime Conventions. They have a couple different groups. We Run Conventions and We Run Anime Conventions. It was a group designed to, it's a Facebook group. It was designed to have a whole bunch of con owners and con staff to toss around and network. So it's like, hey, does anyone have Johnny Young Bosch's email or contact info? I can't find it, blah, blah, blah. And someone's, oh yeah, I will DM you, blah, 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 blah. Or does anyone know like good vendors for this area, blah, 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 blah. So it used to be like passing around that type of stuff. And now all it is, oh, is this person a good guest to have in an event? Oh, no, don't get them. They were rumors that they were creepy and they were terrible, horrible people. And oh my goodness, did you hear about this? It's just a fucking Mean Girls Club now. It's just a Mean Girls Club now. Oh, absolutely distract enemies. It is 100% hijacked by woke idiots. And Ginny is one of the top lunatics in that sphere, because she is one of the, I believe she's the moderator for both of them, but she's the top moderator for like those groups. And she thinks that she has power because she can ban people from a clique and get rid of people from having access to that resource. When if you think about it, if it's a resource that makes every convention better, then number one, why is it a secret society? And number two, why are you removing people from it as punishment for not following your stupid fucking rules? Oh, you invited Vic Mignogna to an event? You invited Quentin Flynn to an event? Oh, you are banned from the table now. You're gone. Banished. You will never have access to any of these big brains of con ownerships. Kiss the ring. Fuck yourself. And so yeah, we're setting up that. Steffi and I are setting this up now. We're going to get this going. And there's the bun pile. Bunmageddon. Yeah. Oh, I can't imagine why anyone would think that they're a clique. A clique. Can't be the fact that you act like you're an authority over all cons universally, and that you collude to blacklist guests and vendors, so that you literally have a group that you exclude people from joining. No idea where you get the idea that they're a clique at all. What's funny is that these sort of mafia type setups become a dog-eat-dog situation. The people in power will never give up, and some of these suck up to them. Power Keg Greg, you said it 100%, because it's so funny that these idiots are already turning on Ginny and attacking Ginny over other things too. Like she's already been gone after because she's the top dog that owns these groups. And so it's all this like gnashing of teeth and claws going back and forth. It's hilarious to watch because they all backstab each other. So I did actually I threw down the gauntlet. I will say this: if any of these spineless wads of human flesh want to come on my podcast and dunk on me about con experience and show me exactly their precious and apparently universally used contracts to show me exactly where I'm wrong, inbox is open. Come and show me how wrong I am, please. Show me your contract. I was invited to email the Kmart Montello. I was invited to email Kmart Montello's conventions, which I asked her several times which one she chairs at, And she's listed off a bunch of different conventions. And it's like, okay, so I looked up those conventions. She's not mentioned on literally any of them. So I don't know where the hell she is. But I do know that she probably has control over the inbox. So she can go in there and intercept any emails. And she can delete things. That's one thing that happens too, by the way. Never let a Kmart Montello run your guest relations or literally anything to do with an email, because they have literally no life. They have literally nothing better to do than sit on Twitter. So they sit on their inbox all the time. They sit on your inbox for your business all the time. And if anybody at all comes in and says, oh, I would like to suggest Quentin Flynn as a guest, or I would like to suggest Vic Mignogna as a guest, they get that email and they delete it. They delete it immediately. They remove any trace of it before anyone in authority has a chance to see it. And then when you go to the events and say, well, I asked for this person to show up, why didn't you get it? It's like, well, we never got it. It's like, yeah, because they go in and they manipulate the media that the ownership sees. Never let these people have access to anything, period. I've seen it happen. So I said, send your fucking best. Send someone to show me one of your contracts. Get a blank contract and show it to me. Just do it. None of them would. None of them would. They all ran around and say, oh, why would I go on your show? Why would I go on your show? Yeah, they take over the inbox, distract enemies. I've seen it happen many, many times. Where it's like, if someone doesn't want something to get through, if you make a complaint to a convention, say that there's only one email address listed for Fan Expo, for example. This is just a wild thing. Say, Fan Expo Dallas, you had some issue. Yes, I want your email, Sam. DM me on Twitter. Say that you have an issue at Fan Expo Dallas with one of the psychotic SJWs that are there, and you email you should take over their inbox. I mean, we should. The only email address that you have is a very generic inbox. So you email this big long email complaining about this to the generic inbox. That gets deleted. The ownership will never see that. What you have to do, and this is the funniest part, because when I suggested this, she shut up fucking immediately. She just went completely dark. She shut up and just stopped talking to me, period. Because she's like, oh yeah, just email my conventions. Haha, just email them. We're laughing at you right now. Haha. We're all like, I'm already sending screenshots. Ha ha ha. I'm already ahead of you. And it's like, oh, you think that I'm going to be emailing your general inbox? I'm going to research who owns your convention. I'm going to research who CEOs your convention. I'm going to find their emails and I'm going to email them directly. So that you can't go in and delete my email. She shut right the fuck up. She shut up right away. It's like, yeah, I'm pretty sure that you're sending all these cherry-picked things. You're sending all these cherry-picked things to make me look bad, but you're not showing them that you're anti-capitalist. You're not showing them that you support businesses getting burnt to the ground. You're not showing them any of that stuff, are you? No, you're not showing them that. In fact, they probably don't even know who you are. It would be a really bad thing if they found out, though. Be a really bad thing if they found out who you are. Some of the smaller causes you went to have some meetups for the people who are running it, and they said they had this air about them. Like, the fuck is up with you? Yeah. Some ownership, some owners are fucking weird. Some owners are very, very weird. Most owners are pretty down to earth. So there was, this is funny stuff here. Okay. We're going to get into this real quick. Your guest contract's plain Jane. You'll fly you out, provide hotel room per diem. Anything else beyond that subject to further negotiation, which is welcome. That's what I'm saying. I looked up. So, fun fact, folks. Fun fact. You can find out most of the contracts just by Google searching them. Or you can just go and apply, and you get a contract sent to you. I looked at several different conventions. I'm not going to name which ones. I looked at several different conventions, and they were basically outside of the name of the convention. They were copy and paste exact same. So guess what I did? I went and I took from all of the conventions and I changed USA to Canada. There was no statutes quoted in anything, so I didn't have to worry about laws. Just very plain Jane generic stuff. I took that, adapted it to our contract, brought it to a lawyer, said, hey, can you look this over and make sure this is legitimate? They looked over it and said, yep, it's perfectly fine. Done. I drafted my own contract, people. I wrote my own contract. According to Twitter and Flaw Twitter, you can only have a lawyer do it for you. You can't even think about putting a pen to paper and typing out your own contract. You just can't do it. Here's the steps you've been taking. Become friends with the con owners. Get to know them. Who is friends? Who has the funds and influence for you? Can't beat Funimation because they have too much money for local cons. The problem is distract enemies. The conventions that lean on Funimation, they don't have a guest relations department. They don't have a guest relations department. They lean on agencies to get guests for them because they don't want to put their own people in charge of that. So they don't have people that go out and negotiate and contact agencies or independent people or whatever else. They don't have that. So they don't know what goes into that because it's all done by a third party. And when you see a small convention that has a bunch of Funimation voice actors, that's 100% what is going on there. They have farmed out their guest relations to Funimation. Exactly. Funimation does not give money to any cons. Money only flows towards Funimation. If you can't write your own contracts, then why do you have business contracts that you have to sign when you get hired? It's lawyers, man. You have to, Stacy. If you're not a lawyer, you're literally never allowed to write a document. Period. You literally can't even read English and understand what it means if you're not a lawyer. And absolute brainlets. This is what I mean when I talk about business consulting firms and the bullshit that they give to these people that have a lot of fucking money that have no idea what to do with it. These business consulting firms walk in and they say, oh, well, we have to charge you $75,000 to make up contracts. Why the fuck do you need that much money? Oh, because we have to have a team of lawyers to go over and write these contracts from scratch. And because, if... You don't understand conventions, okay? I understand conventions because I'm a business consulting firm, so you just have to listen to me right here, right now. Only lawyers are allowed to write contracts, period, and they have to write contracts for your specific one. Because they have to do it, we have to have 4 other lawyers look over it, so that's going to cost $75,000. And then the ownership's whatever, here you go. Here's money. And then they do exactly what I do. They pull a fucking generic contract off the internet. They get a lawyer to look over it for 5 minutes. At most $50, $100. Done. And they pocket the rest of the money. This is how these people operate, and this is why they're so threatened and they're so pissed off with the success of Kitchener Comic-Con. and the success of every other single independent event. Should you get a contract and change it in a way that you get paid 10 times more than Funimation VAs? If you can find someone stupid enough to agree, then yes. It all comes down to how much they agree. Because there's one really, really smart person, right? The Kmart Montello that said, "Oh, my consultation fee is starts at $100,000." Anyone that pays you a fucking dime is an idiot. If you're charging $100,000 as a convention consultation fee, they deserve every fucking thing they get. Everything they get. Which, I mean, I don't think they get paid at all. Let's make that clear. I don't think they get paid at all. They are scam artists. They are con artists. They are literally people that have gone to school and understand business. Yeah, $100K to a loon. Which I'm sure they didn't get money. I'm sure they don't get paid. But they go out to these owners and say, "Hey, I can start a convention for you." You're hearing how much she charges? You think you're in the wrong profession? No lie, guys. No lie. With my experience, like when I was between jobs, and I had the experience I had from Kitchener Comic-Con, and I was between jobs, I was applying to places with the resume and the stuff that I had from the media coordination and all that stuff. And I was going to agencies, and they're like looking at my resume. They're like, you realize like you're way overqualified for this. I'm like, I don't care. I just want a job. Like, but you could make a lot more money by doing like media coordination. I'm like, yeah, I don't want to do that though. I just want to go in and turn my brain off. I don't want to be stressed out every fucking day. And if you're interesting enough, Ragnarok Knight, people would go and see you. But this is the thing. It's like you have business consulting firms coming in and telling people how to spend their money, but they don't tell them where their money's going. And it's like, oh, I'm gonna, and you get a convention that's worth $5,000, and you're spending $150 for it because you're getting fucking milked by these companies. Milked by them because they don't care about you. They don't care about the fans. They care about their image. They're the ones that tell the ownership, "Oh, can't have this person. Oh, it's going to be bad for your image. It's going to be bad for your brand." It's these psychopaths. Take the power away from them. Stop buying into these conventions. So this is pretty funny because I already know at this point, like I already know before this point that my stalker, my personal stalker, has been feeding information to these morons. You can give anyone a spreadsheet of running a paid con, but that won't help to actually run exactly. You can pick a random piece of paper out of any Freedom of Information Act and be like, "Oh, look at this. Oh, I know everything about this convention." No, you know everything about that piece of paper. And even then, you don't even know what that piece of paper is. So speaking of morons, there is a fat, bald, slow, dumbass that has been chasing me around for years because I made the cardinal sin of yes, I do have a stalker. I have the cardinal sin. I made the cardinal sin of defending Kitchener Comic-Con and a certain con owner, and he just couldn't get over it because he was supposed to put that in the ground. Like they canceled him and they canceled the convention that they were supposed to die. They were supposed to die and never come back. Shane's still around. Shane is still around, yes. This is not Shane, though. This is an individual that goes by the Twitter Neoengel, Neoengel, GEL, and he's a hilariously, he used to consider himself Frank Castle, the Punisher. He used to consider himself the Punisher until it was no longer okay to be a fan of the Punisher, and then he immediately scrapped everything to do with it. But he is a security guard by trade that paid the extra $50 to get his private eyes license. He has a private investigator's license, and he abuses it by going around and trying to act like a like a vigilante on social media. So he constantly is uploading. He's constantly uploading his dash cams to YouTube. He's constantly trying to strong arm information out of people. And when something happened in the first year of Kitchener Comic Con, and Mr. Hop had hired me as his media consultant, his media manager. Punisher is your boy, zero fucks given. It's one thing to enjoy the Punisher. It's another thing to act in real life like you are him. And so when I was hired to be Mr. Hop's media manager, I stepped in when he was getting a lot of blowback on social media when he said something off the cuff to somebody online, and everyone was attacking him, was attacking the convention, was like full out just blasting off on him. When literally it was this person that was pissed off because they got a parking ticket and they tried blaming the convention. And it's like, yes, there was free parking and you parked in the non-free parking spot and you got a ticket. Sorry. But she was like blasting off on the convention, and he like rolled out of bed and saw it, and he's like, blah, 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 blah. I could tell you to eat a dick, but that would be bad, and then hit post and then left. Yeah, my stalker's a mall cop, yes. My stalker is literally Paul Blart, and he thinks he's Frank Castle. So when people were coming on, they were criticizing the convention, but there were people making literal physical threats of violence against him, like taking it way too fucking far, saying that he was sexually assaulting this person, etc., etc. It's like, hold on a minute. Let's step it down a minute. So we went to the police station. We went to the local police and said, what can we do about this? Because these people are making like actionable comments and making comments that are not true, that are damaging their reputation, that are like literal serious complaints, and like saying that he's committing criminal offenses. And they looked at it and they said, well, you can't sue the internet. You can't arrest the internet. You can't sue the internet. So the best thing you can do is just post a cease and desist notice. And if certain individuals still continue beyond that, then at least you know who you can go after. Then at least you know who you can like pick out and say and get the field down from this big down to this big. And then you can at least decide if you want to take action on those people. Like, you know what? That's sound advice. So we go, I research it, I grab a form template of a cease and desist notice from a law website, like a lawyer's website that actually goes out and does this stuff. I took a cease and desist letter form template, filled in the blanks, and posted a cease and desist letter on the post, and I sent it to individuals that were doing the most damage, and said basically, like, look, we're asking you to stop this. If you don't stop this, we're keeping record of everything that's being said, and we're going to consider, like, we'll bring this to our legal team, and we'll consider action if this continues. And so a lot of people lost their fucking mind over that, saying that people were saying I misrepresented myself as a lawyer because I said my client, even though my client obviously meant I'm a social media manager. So If you have a flashlight as your main weapon and not a firearm, you're not a real officer. So people were going after me because they said, oh, you're making a fake legal threat. You're pretending you're a lawyer and you're threatening legal action. I'm like, I never threatened legal action. I said, if you continue to do this, we will consider taking this to our legal team. Blah, blah, blah. You have to DM me about the conversation, but you go to and you heard they have guest relations, but after hearing the stuff you said, you doubt it? Yeah. Yeah. So my fat, bald stalker got a hold of this and starts going on and beating his drum. So initially it started because he had a disagreement with the owner of the convention. He got mad because the owner asked him to drive him here and there and everywhere. And the owner, when he got drunk, said something bad about some asshole that demanded a free table at our convention, which happened to be this guy's friend. So then he decided that from that point, we were falsely advertising. So number one issue, it all started because this fat idiot decided that we were falsely advertising that Marvel was a sponsor for the event. Meanwhile, we had Marvel merchandise from Marvel for the purposes of promoting them, and we could use them as, like we could use them on our advertising because we had the agreement. So he decided to call Marvel USA and ask if they had a partnership with Kitchener Comic-Con. Number one, we didn't contact Marvel USA. Number two, we didn't contact Marvel Studios in the USA. He never ended up talking to our contact that we had in Marvel Canada. That where we got the stuff from and all that stuff. Never talked to them. Went on to claim that we were falsely advertising, that we were sponsored by Marvel, blah, 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 blah. It's like, okay, look. Proved him wrong on that one. Completely blew him out of the water on that one. Okay. Then the story changes to, no, he actually has a problem because we sent fake legal threats. So he went and complained. He made a bar complaint to the Law Society of Ontario. He claimed that I was misrepresenting myself as a lawyer and making fake legal threats to people online. That was interesting. I got a letter from the Law Society. I called them, called the lawyer. We had a chat about it. The lawyer was laughing it off, saying, like, look, this is literally the smallest of potatoes. Like, you didn't go into a courtroom. You didn't represent yourself to the bar as a lawyer. It's like you did nothing. Like, this is literally the smallest potatoes. He's like, I can't tell you to not worry about it, but don't worry about it. You have nothing to worry about. The decision came down that his claim was meritless. I still have that framed. So the decision came down that it was meritless. There was no validity to his claim. And after months of him beating his fucking drum, saying saying that I'm going to jail, saying that I'm going to be charged, I'm going to, like, all of this stuff's going to be, like, blah, 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 comes out and says that his claim was completely meritless. And it changes his tune as, oh, well, I never thought it would go that far. Oh, wow, acting like nonchalant. And now, looking back, now Bedek and Tubaka and all of the other flaw twits that are out here are trying to use that as a dunk on me. It's like, this has already been resolved several years ago, which is why we're getting into this situation now. But what I'm pretty sure this bald fat idiot hasn't told his newfound flaw Twitter friends is the time that he tried to get, hello, Lost Bullets. How you doing? Was the time that he tried to get a paintball course shut down because he got told off by the owner because he was too slow and too fat. And he was griping and complaining because they wouldn't slow the game down for him. And so he was causing a big distraction and a big delay because he refused to get off the field because he was throwing a little hissy tantrum, and he went to Reddit and complained that the ownership was abusive to him and all this other stuff, and he got completely BTFO'd by the paintball course. Completely shut off. He also failed to tell them that at the same convention where we had vendors literally throwing money at us as a deposit, he was going vendor to vendor with a clipboard and an envelope with tax documents. He was going vendor to vendor, telling vendors that he was there on behalf of the Canadian Revenue Agency, and he was investigating claims of tax fraud against Kitchener Comic-Con. And they had to provide him the financial details that they spent at Kitchener Comic-Con, because he was investigating tax fraud. He was literally impersonating a government agent. He's not, by the way. And we had several people come up to us and say, this guy's doing this. And then as soon as they found out, he booked it. He got out of that convention as fast as his fat little legs could carry him. Taking offense to bald. Some of us can't help hair follicles. No, this individual did so voluntarily. Oh yes, Toyman. He went table to table for the vendors that he knew were listed at our convention before, and told them that he was a member of the Canadian Revenue Agency, which is the Canadian version of the IRS, and saying that he needs the financial information that they paid Kitchener Comic-Con because he's investigating us for tax fraud. But he never tells anyone that. He never tells anybody that, though. Never tells anybody about that. Why would he? So there is a video that was done by Spectre. Now, if I can copy the address here, I'll post it in. Guys, check out this video. This entire series, by the way. This entire series, can I copy the video address? Goes over pretty much everything I'm saying. So Spectre did a 3-part interview with me. Oh, it absolutely is fraud. I called the CRA and asked them, and they said they're very, very interested to investigate that. They were very, very interested in investigating it. But Spectre went over basically all of the allegations that were against us and interviewed me for like 3 hours. Then the recording didn't work, and we had to interview again for another 3 hours. So coincidentally, my story never changed. But he put together a 3-part video series. This is the 3rd part. You can see the other 2 on there. I suggest go checking it out, because you'll see exactly how far that fucking rabbit hole goes. You'll see exactly how far that rabbit hole goes. No, it's very much criminal to impersonate a government agent, especially. And this is coming from a dude who's like literally claiming that he has all of his slam dunk evidence on us. Oh yeah, he has so much evidence, man. He can't hold all this evidence. But meanwhile, he's going and misrepresenting himself as a government agent to get information on us. He's too busy eating crayons to hit the record the first time. It's so true. So true. But then again, none of our cons had to crowdfund or fake cease and desists. This is another thing that it blows my mind. It blows my mind that these idiots have no idea that you can anyone can send a cease and desist letter, by the way. Shocking, I know. Shocking. Shocking. It's as close as he could be to Frank Castle hiding from the authorities, except one is badass and one is fat. One's badass and one's a fat ass. There you go. It's shocking to know that anybody at all can send a cease and desist letter. That only courts can draft a cease and desist order. I know that's a lot of English to understand there. And most of Flaw Twitter can't quite grasp it. But if you want someone to stop doing something, send them a cease and desist letter. Which, again, we had a lawyer look over the wording. Everything was fine. There was no issues. We sent it. So I'm getting criticisms from these absolute experts saying that, oh, well, you sent a fake cease and desist. Actually, no. I sent a real cease and desist. And the purpose behind it was to narrow down people who wanted to take it further. Because guess what happened after I sent the cease and desist letter? Shockingly, 99% of people stopped talking about it. Andrew Cooley, you're disappointed in me. You offered to come on and I completely ignored your offer. I might have missed it because I have you muted. If you want to come on, I'll let you come on right now. I'll let you come on right now. I'm pretty sure I have you muted on Twitter. I don't get your notifications. Because I have way too many people farting in my ear constantly. So. And like when I say like, when I actually reply to people who I have muted, it's because people on my feed reply to you, so I can see that they're replying to somebody. I can see they're replying to somebody, so I can actually view your tweet. But if you're just tweeting at me, and I have you muted, it doesn't show up at all. It's the most magnificent thing ever. I suggest you take advantage of it. But if you want to come on, I'll drop a link in right now and we can chat. I'm not hiding at all. I mean, you could have come in like 2 hours ago and I could have fit you in for a longer portion of the show, but I mean, there's that too. I eagerly await your reply. I eagerly await. Oh my, it's the joke from Tennessee. Thank you for the view, though. I appreciate it. I'm eagerly awaiting the reply. I can set up the StreamYard right now. It literally will take me like 2 seconds. The one nice thing, though, I will say about this week is that I found so many more of the flaw twits that I didn't have muted, and that just let me mute a whole bunch of them. So I don't have to listen to this like white noise nonsense in the background. Where you go, Andrew? I'm literally asking you to come on right now. I'll give you your 15 minutes. I'll give you your 15. I'll give you credit because you came into the lion's den. I'll give you credit. You want on? I'll bring you on. No problem. No problem. At least one person isn't transphobic for wanting to come on. That's what I'm saying. Like, honestly, I apologize that I have you muted and I missed your request to come on the show. You're here now. Let's do it, though. I don't mind extending the show for another little bit. Come on. One less in the chat. Yeah, that's what I figured. Unfortunate. You didn't actually send me the thing that you wanted to come on. Or did you? Oh yeah, by the way, there's a new emote on my Twitch channel. It is Crummer Glad. I made this last night. I made this last night. You know, I'll leave that on the channel. I'll leave that up there for now. I'm waiting, Andrew. You're here, obviously. Come on in. Come on in. Let's talk. I have like a good chunk of them muted now. You've muted so many lol Twitters as well. Mute button's amazing. It really is. They're gonna be a Twitch stream. Yeah, there probably will be a Twitch stream. More than likely, I would say. I just have to get food and then I'll hop on Twitch afterwards. But yes, I wanted to grease the wheels a little bit here. I wanted to grease the wheels a little bit here for part 1 of this conversation. Part 2 of this conversation, he popped in and said that he was disappointed and then immediately left, apparently. I mean, if he wants to talk, I'm here. If someone doesn't have him muted on Twitter, at him and let him know. I will have him on the show right now. I would normally be ending around this time, but if he wants on, I'll extend the show. I don't care. I legit have him muted, so I don't see anything that he tweets at me, thank God. Because the only thing that they're successful in doing is killing my phone battery, so. Smash that like button, everybody. I mean, I guess he didn't think that I would say come on the show. Like, what does he think this is? What does he think this is right now? Let's see. Did he actually message me? Is the question. Yeah, he waited till the end on purpose. I mean, absolutely. Absolutely he did. I don't care. I'll extend it for another hour. I'll sit here and talk for another hour if he wants to come on. I don't give a shit. Come on. Like I said before, send your best, please. Send your best. Yeah, I don't have any notifications. The seven that I do have, he's not one of them. So I don't have any DMs. So I don't know where you said you wanted to come on the show. Exactly. It's Saturday. I have time. I don't know where you said you'd come on the show, but you didn't do it on any avenue that would actually get to me. So, if anyone out there has Andrew, I'll give him like another 10 minutes. I'll even be courteous enough to give him another 10 minutes. If he needs to go do his powder, that's fine. You want to come on this? If you want to come on the show, you were obviously in the chat. You have something to say. Come on. I'll have you on. Come on the show. Tell me how wrong I am. Go for it. If Andrew's their best, they need to do better. Yeah, I mean, absolutely clip it. So he can't claim no opportunity was presented. Absolutely. Andrew is all they have. Like, oh my God. I literally, so like the funny part is I didn't even have him muted until like a couple days ago when he just started replying to shit with word salad. And I'm like, if you're like not even gonna put a thought into your post, I'm like, I'm just gonna mute you if you're just literally posting for the sake of chopping up words and throwing them on Twitter. Yeah, Andrew had balls, but they went back up. Unfortunate. I mean, this goes to anybody out there, like, because I'm sure that there's little weirdos out there right now that are lurking in the chat right now, just furiously. Oh, can you believe? I'm sure they're doing that right now. Come on the show. I will create a StreamYard right now. I'll create a StreamYard and we can hop on together and you can tell me how wrong I am. You can tell my audience how wrong I am right now. Why not? Let's do it. Yeah, 10 minutes. If I don't hear anything by 9 o'clock my time, I'm just gonna end the show on this note because this is pretty hilarious. This is pretty funny. I'll even let you take the first shot. Come on. Come on. You think of one as they cut your videos. What I'm saying, man. This is the best that they have, apparently. Their internet muscles are fading fast. I mean, I guess he didn't realize that I could literally just make a lobby right now. I don't know. Clowns are supposed to be funny. This is true. It's very true. This is very true. Yeah, I'm 7 foot tall. You know, 10 feet off the ground. Come on, man. You can't do that. You can't blue ball the chat like that. Come on, man. Now what are you gonna do? You're gonna demand a time because you're not ready now. You're gonna demand a time for me to go and create a show or go on your show or something like that, and then not show up for it again. Exactly. You can't just attack and not get a response back. Come on, dude. Come on, dude. You already know that I have you muted, man. You already know because I haven't been responding to your calls for attention the past like 3 days. Yes, 3D print some balls for Andrew. Apparently he lost them. Jesus, Jones. God dang. Well, 7 minutes to go. 7 minutes left. My goodness. I'm disappointed now. It was going to be a nice, like, quiet end to the show, and then Andrew pops in here. Makes a claim that he can't back up because I don't have anything at all showing that he tried to contact me. I don't have anything at all that shows he tried to contact me, so. Well, let me check real quick. Let me check real quick what he said, because he said, "I'm disappointed in you, Crumb. I offered to come on and you completely ignored my offer." That's what he says. So I guess he doesn't have a show. Just makes the show more interesting to only then piss off the audience. Exactly. I mean, you've completely made an ass of yourself, so. I mean, there's that, I guess. You're gonna sit back and laugh about how much you're trolling, alright? Yeah? Is that what you're gonna do? Did he post to? I have no idea. I have him muted. He probably messaged the wrong one intentionally. Come on, dude. Come on, dude. You're better than this, Andrew. You're better than this. If anyone out there doesn't have him muted or is not blocked by him, please let him know that he's free to come on the show right now if he wants to. He's got 5 minutes. If he tells me he wants to come on the show and he actually makes an effort to come on, I will extend the show longer for him. I think it's just Andrew Cooley, I think. I don't know. I'm pretty sure he has me blocked now too. Let's see. He probably did, out of habit, I would think. Yeah, because he didn't message me. Like if he had messaged me, I think I probably would have gotten it. Let's see here real quick. That didn't work. He's got an anime avatar. I don't know. Yeah, I can't find him. He has an anime avatar on Twitter. Man, that's disappointing. 4 minutes. 4 minutes to go. Unfortunate. How unfortunate. He probably does have like he makes his weebs look bad. He probably does have like a number of tweets at me. You got good news, Phoenix Aurum. Let's hear it. Let's hear it, sir. Phoenix has been you're in remission? Let's fucking go, dude. Phoenix has been that's a fucking cause for celebration. Good shit. Phoenix has been struggling with some health issues. And he had a miracle chance of a recovery. His particular health issue has a very, very, very low chance, like minute microscopic chance of finding a donor that would match up. And even then had a small enough chance of it going into remission. Good job surviving COVID. But no, he actually found someone that was a perfect match for him, and it's very, very, very good to hear that now it's in remission. So all of the thoughts and prayers and everyone pulling for Phoenix, because the people that I don't want to go too much detail into it without Phoenix's permission, but all the thoughts and prayers and energy that was sent out for healing for Phoenix, looks like everything worked out really extremely well, and I'm over the moon happy, Phoenix, that it's in remission for you. Thank you so much for showing up. That's the best news that I've gotten literally all month. So that is literally a living miracle right there. Literally, if people out there say that miracles don't exist, well, there you go. Very, very good. Very, very good to hear. There's so many people under that name. None of them have anime avatars. Wait, Ellie, did you see it? Ellie said, "I see it now." Was that Cooley? Stem cells. It was a miracle itself, and it wouldn't have been possible without those who cared about you caring about you. Thank you, Phoenix. And good grief. Blessings out to the universe and all that stuff for the fact that actually happened. Oh, is that okay? There he is. Is that the Twitter? Am I gonna get a virus for clicking this? Let's see here. Oh, is that what he's saying? Oh, I saw that. That's not an honest offer. He even says. Yeah, and he's just started posting beluga whales, and then I muted him. That's not an honest offer at all. One second. I gotta pull it up here. I'm gonna pull it on stream so you guys can see what I'm talking about. This is not an actual honest offer at all. I'm just kidding, Ellie. I'm getting brain damage from this. I'll nibble on your bait. I'll come on your show. However, there will be terms. Term 1. Again, I'm not taking any terms for someone to come on my show. Term 1, I will need you to go to Marine Land in Niagara Falls. Photograph 6 different beluga whales and ID them. Term 2, the show that's actually 2 terms in one, by the way. So you've already failed your own terminologies. Term 1 would be me going to Niagara Falls. Term 2 would be me photographing 6 different beluga whales. Term 3 would be me IDing them. And then term 4 would be to show how the show will be about beluga whales. Yeah, so like, I don't know what your weird, because I said something else and then you referred it back to beluga whales and then I just muted you because like clearly you're brain damaged, Andy. This is a serious offer. Yeah. So if this is what you're considering an offer to come on the show, unfortunately, this is not it, dude. This is not it, dude. And here I thought he was honestly offering to come on. Unfortunate. Yeah, I muted him after this stupidity right here. I said, weird way to announce you don't have any balls. I literally replied to it. I literally replied to it and said, weird way to announce you don't have any balls. And then he said, not visibly, talking about the belugas. And that's when this is the point of when I muted him, by the way. This is the exact moment of when I muted him. Oh my god. Oh my god. So he's referring to himself as a beluga whale. I mean, that's pretty fit. That's pretty on the fucking nose. It's a dishonest offer, Zero. A dishonest offer. I loved my department heads at AWA. Courtney and Dylan were so amazing to work with. I wasn't treated as an underling or as a rookie. I was treated treated so good by such amazing people. Yeah, you were apparently the mascot, dude. You're apparently the mascot. So, there you go. I mean, you had your chance, Andy. You had your chance to come on and talk about beluga whales, and you blew it. So, unfortunately for you, that's all I have for today. But we will be setting up. A time for Stan. We're gonna get Stan. We're gonna get Seffi. We're gonna get Sam, and I'm gonna see if there's anybody else that I can pull in for a big brain panel, and we're gonna talk all about. We run conventions and we run anime conventions, and the psycho nuts like Andy and Ginny and Shane. And Ragnarok Knight's going to talk about Ragnacon. Oh my god. Folks, that is going to do it for me today. What a fucking absolute dumpster fire. Kmart Manjaw. Oh my god. Courtney Ahmed. Really? Oh my lord. Oh my lord. And Amy. Yeah, we're gonna talk about all those people. But we're gonna set up a time sometime shortly in the new year. In January. I'm gonna aim for January to get everyone, because by then Sam will be settled in. Christmas and stuff will be done, so everyone will have some time, and then we'll start the new year off fresh. We'll pick up part 2 of this discussion, because it's gonna be an absolute fire starter, let me tell you. But guys, thank you so much for hanging out. This has been another Knucklehead stream. I'll probably be on Twitch in just a little bit here. I'm gonna order some food, get some food, and get all fed up and all that fun stuff. Boxing Day, get those boxing gloves ready. And we'll be back again next week. I'm not sure what we'll do next week. I'll probably talk about Spider-Man, but thank you guys so much for hanging out. This has been another Knucklehead stream. This has been Crumb. Yes, Twitch later, absolutely. Until next time, keep your stick on the ice. Bye-bye.